Hello everyone and welcome to our halftime report. My name is Stephen Smith alongside Mark and East Sanders. Halfway through October now, conference play is in full swing. Let's take a look back at how we thought the conference would look to what it is now.
That's right. Now here is your CUSA 2016 preseason media poll. We've got Southern Miss winning the West, followed by Skip Holt's Bulldog squad with Louisiana Tech, and then all the Texas schools following below. Now, if you take a shift out to the east, Blue Raiders are sitting at the top, followed by Western Kentucky, and then Marshall and Company are bringing up the rear.
Now that we've seen that, let's see where we are now. Here are your current Conference USA standings up to date. The West is shaping up to be pretty much what we expected, especially at the top with powerhouses like Southern Miss and Louisiana Tech. The East, however, still has Middle Tennessee leading, but Western Kentucky sitting in the 4th spot and Marshall all the way down at number 6 after a 1-4 start to the season. Old Dominion, however, kind of a surprise at 2nd.
That's right, Stephen. Old Dominion sitting up here in 2nd place, 2-0 in conference play, 4-2 on the season. Kind of a sleeper team out east anyway. This team has the best turnover margin in Conference USA at a +9. That is amazing at a +9. And second only to them is Marshall. And Marshall is only at a +1. So you see the big gap and the difference in between how the turnover margins are working with Old Dominion. And like I said, 4-2 on the season. With the rest of their schedule looking at it, only 2 tough games left, which is just against Western Kentucky next week and then November with Southern Miss. So you look at that schedule, they can get those other 4 games and finish at 8-4. Old Dominion could be looking at a bowl game right here, Stephen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's huge, especially because Southern Mississippi looked good, like really good.
They really do.
4-2 coming into this week with a win over, granted, a bad Kentucky team, but still a win over an SEC team.
SEC.
Exactly. Road doesn't get any easier, though, for them as they have LSU coming up next, barring it doesn't get rained out. Old Dominion, toss-up game, North Texas and LA Tech. What do they have to do to punch their 2nd straight ticket to the Conference USA Championship?
Well, see, it's really plain and simple for the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. They just have to stay the course. This offense is a well-oiled machine ran by quarterback Nick Mullins, over 1,800 yards passing, 16 touchdowns. They just have to keep course, man. They have scored over 31 points in each game of the season. They have yet to score under 30 points, even in their losses. Now, despite that loss to Texas San Antonio last week, they outgained the Roadrunners in total yards, total time of possession. They out-timed them. They held the ball longer with time of possession as well, and then they had to double the first downs as Texas San Antonio with 31 first downs going into 17. So all they have to do really for Southern Miss to come back into the Conference USA Championship game is just take care of the ball and everything will work out fine for this Golden Eagles team.
Team that makes the fewest turnovers win the game.
They win the game.
Right behind Southern Miss in the West, you've got an offensive powerhouse in Louisiana Tech. Listen to this stat. They are the only team in the country with a quarterback averaging over 350 yards, a running back averaging over 100 yards, and 2 receivers also averaging 100 yards per game. Yet somehow they're sitting at 3-3.
Yeah, Stephen, all those stats right there does make sense. And I know that it doesn't show in the record with them being 3-3, but it's a good 3-3. You have to listen to the teams that they've lost to. They lost a shootout to Middle Tennessee a couple of weeks ago, 38-34, where they actually had the lead in that game. And then another shootout to Texas Tech, 59-45.
Those Big 12 teams.
Yeah, Big 12. They know how to throw the ball around the field.
Right.
And then that 1-point loss over there to Arkansas, who is actually ranked 22nd right now in the country. So a 1-point loss only to a top 25 team, that's pretty good right there. And they've already gone through the meat of their schedule right there. So it's going to get a lot easier for Louisiana Tech. And when I look at their schedule, I don't see another team that's really going to give them trouble until that last game of the season when they play Southern Miss, which will probably decide who actually comes out in the West Division of Conference USA.
That's 3 tough losses. All right, well, we've taken some time to talk about it. If you had to make your picks for the conference championship today, who would your picks be?
In December right now, I think if I had to pick my 2 teams who's going to play in the conference championship game out west, I would actually go with the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs and Skip Holtz. Trent Taylor is an awesome receiver. I like what they have going on with their offense, and I think they're the only team that can actually keep up with Southern Miss in scoring and hold them together. Out east, I'm going with the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. I think that Brent Stockstill and Octavius Mathis and company is looking good, and no one actually really talks about their defense as much. Their defense is pretty good as well for Middle.
Let me tell you, I'm going out east with the Raiders too. Those boys on defense, you said it, man. They can play ball. They're quick left to right. They're the Sharks. They throw up their fins during the game, and they have Brent Stockstill, who's a great quarterback, and Octavius Mathers, who's running the ball better than anyone in Conference USA right now. But out west, I'm going to go with Southern Miss. 4-2, I think that they have the easiest outside of LSU and maybe a toss-up game against Old Dominion. I think they have the easiest record for the rest of the way in the West, and that's why I have Southern Miss out west. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Jake and Alex will have the rest of your game at halftime coverage right after this.